Hi there. I want to show you around StudioMine and how I typically start a project. So first, I'm going to create a new project. I know that this is going to be for Carrie. So I'm going to say Carrie's project. And I know we're working at a budget of about $8,000. Our install date is not until a few months out, so I have a little bit of time to get this together. And we're going to do a lake house reno in New Buffalo. All right, so now I can go ahead and save and close, and I'm gonna go ahead and add my space. So my space is really a structure, and a space can have multiple rooms. So for this project, I know that I'm working on the lake house, and I know the square footage is about 1545. I know we're gonna be working on a couple rooms, so I have the living room, I have a porch, so if I wanna type in any of these options, they'll pop up. And I know that we're also working on a guest room. So again, I can go ahead and add that in. And then if I have a new room name that I want to add in, I can do that here. So for instance, if I want to add in a garage, I can add that in. I can also drag and drop my floor plans into here to keep them all in one spot. And if you'd like to add a watermark, you can always add that as well. So we'll go ahead and continue. And for today, I want to really focus on the living room area. So I'm going to go ahead and expand the living room. As you can see, I don't have any products on my board yet. Once items are on the actual mood board, the products will show up here. So we'll go ahead and add some products. I'm going to start with sofas and love seats. I know for sure that I need a sofa that's no larger than 98 inches wide. So I'm going to go ahead and add my max. And I know my minimum, I know we definitely want to be able to seat their family comfortably. I know that that's a big problem that they're working with right now. So for right now, I think in this area, we can work between 78 and 98 inches wide. And I also want to check to see if items will be available by the date that I intend to order. So my order date is January 3rd, and I'd like to see what we think is available based on the actual data that we have. Now, inventory is never guaranteed, but we know for sure that it looks like things are going to be in stock at that time. Now, I know for sure they would love this. Paris sofa is always potentially a great option as well because it has a really nice deep blue color, and that can work well with the rest of the art and decor that we're working with. So I'm just going to add a few pieces for now. I'm then going to go into accent chairs, and I know one thing for sure about accent chairs that it needs to be high enough. It can't have a super low back. That was one of the requirements. So again, I'm going to check. I'll look by in stock date here. I'm also going to check on the sizing here, and I know for sure that we want to make sure that it's at least 34 inches high. Anything lower than that just hits them at an odd angle and is just not comfortable. So we'll go ahead and check on these options. These are actually some really cute. I think they would actually really love this. So we'll go ahead and pop it in. I always like to add just a few different ideas of items that I think would work. If it's made to order, that's something you can always reach out to our team and see if potentially, this is something you can customize with COM. But for right now, I think we're just going to focus on a few key pieces, kind of have some fun with it. I know this could potentially, actually, I meant to add this to a different room. So if you've already added it to your room, but you mean to have it in another area, maybe the guest bedroom here, you can always just pop it over to that project as well. So we'll keep working through. I think this global views chair is really cool as well. So I'd like to pop that in. And think of this just as like your idea base. So this is just your way of going through, getting an idea of what you think they would like. And I've actually sat in this chair multiple times before at market, so I can say for sure it's super comfortable. It's a nice deep seat as well. So I know that the taller folks in their family will be very comfortable. So I think that's a great start. So I'm going to go ahead and again, I like to just reset everything. We'll go ahead and bring this in. Everything's just reset. And now we're going to look at different coffee table options. I know for sure that we're looking for kind of a warmer tone. And one of the cool things you can do here is if you want to see items that are either most relevant by designer choice, or you can also look by cost as well. You can check all of that out here. Now, one thing I like to do is sort by newest. So in a lot of times what I can do after market, after High Point Market, Vegas Market, any of those are happening, you can typically see all the newest pieces that were released right at the top here. So I like to kind of go through and take my time sort of filtering through and doing my product knowledge while I'm also sourcing and actively working on a project. So I think for this one, I actually saw this one up above. I think this might be them or something like this, just a little bit more of a traditional touch. So I'm going to actually go ahead and just add that one in. And for now, we're just going to go ahead and do our key pieces here down below are available. So we have all of our items that we think could potentially work really well for this client. I'm going to go ahead and add in, I know for sure the Habitat sofa is something that they can see near their home. Now, the way that I know that is down below, I can actually look at a little bit more information and I can see all of the collections of where they're located. So I know for sure that this is somewhere that they can easily go to and see the actual item in person. You can also check here and complete the look, and you can get just a quick view, kind of like a drive-by view of all of the pieces that it's been styled with previously, as well as the actual piece that you're working on. So again, you can go through all of that. It'll show you the photo here as well. It just has a little bit to load here, but it's a really cool way for you to just be able to see how items are actually applied into a home with natural light. Additional items, for this is a little bit of a different look, for instance, than what we have here with the more geometric type rug. So you can see how exactly these are being used. So I like my option. I think this is going to be great. So I'm going to add the sofa in, and I actually think I'm going to go with something a little bit more bold here with this option here. So I'm going to go ahead and bring these in. They're at a really great price point, so my client will be thrilled with that. So I can maybe spend on something a little bit different. So let's go ahead. We'll bring this in. I have my ottoman here. This is something I've seen in person as well. One of the other great things you can do, you can, of course, look at all of the locations where everything is. You can also look at different images as well. So if you want to get a better idea of the piece and maybe be able to kind of zoom in, zoom out just a little bit more, you have those close-up views available here. So we'll just kind of go through. These are really great photos. So I feel like this client is going to actually really love this. Now, if for instance, I wanted to have this at an angle, I could always just come in, set the image, have it at an angle, and remove the background. You can also, you'll start to notice that if an item has had the background removed already that you've done, you can just go to that back image and it'll go ahead and pop up. So I'm just going to bring in a couple chairs. This is just a pretty simple renovation. It's nothing huge, but it's just to freshen up. So again, on this, you can look through all of the different images that are available. If the background's removed, you can just set the image, or you can click remove background. Either way works totally fine. So again, I'm going to do the same thing here, and it looks like that's worked. I'm going to duplicate the image. And when you duplicate an image, you actually have to choose an image to duplicate. And so I'm going to duplicate the image with the background removed. And when that comes in, we'll typically want to obviously rearrange this. So I'm going to position it horizontally so it can just be a little bit bigger. And I think this is a really nice look for them. So I'm going to go ahead and send this over to my client. But first, I want to make sure that it looks a little bit more complete. So I have my background, StudioMine backgrounds available here that I can utilize. I will say that this looks very similar right now. One of these two, I'm going to go with this one. It's a little more green. This actually looks really similar to their house right now. So yeah, I think this is the one I'm going to use. Now, of course, if I wanted to use a different background and create my own, I can bring those in. In this case, I used a Shaw flooring color as well as a Sherwin-Williams paint color. And then I also can add in my own background. So if you have an image of the room that you're working on, you can bring that in, as well as, for instance, a SketchUp rendered image of the background and then just place the furniture on top. So let me go back to my backgrounds. Let me make sure I have the right one. Yes, selected. Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that in. I'm going to kind of rearrange a little bit here. And now that I have these pieces in, I think the final piece I need to do is a rug. So I just want to make sure that I get a nice rug in there that looks exactly kind of the style that they're going for. I think we're going to go with something a little bit more natural. So I'll go into my marketplace, and rugs usually take a little bit longer to search for. And really, that's just because we have so many options available. But when you use StudioMine, you can utilize our filters on the left side here. And that will really assist you in sort of filtering down so that you're not looking through all the visual noise. And instead, you're looking at items that would work best for you. So as you can see, we have quite a few rugs. And actually, I can't believe it, but I might just have to say that this might be the one, which I honestly cannot believe. So let me just check here. This is actually, but I have one available. So this is something you want to think about. You have one available, it might be perfect for the client. So they might fall in love with it. So in this case, I would suggest you reach out to our trade team, TRADE at allmine.com. And in this case, we could always check to see if maybe this is available in another size. Maybe there are more coming in as well. We can help you through all of that. So for right now, I'm just going to kind of look through. As you can see, if there's options here, plus options, you can go in and see all of the different sizes. For this one, let's see, we have one. It looks like this one is not available, so we might want to just keep searching for additional options. And one of the things about an item not being available, it might become available in the future, and you can always check here. I think for this one, I'm going to be willing to take the risk on one, and I'm going to show my client, but knowing that I'm already emailing the team to make sure this is something that we can get in for you. So we'll go ahead and add this in. Now, this is a really great way for you to finalize your image, or excuse me, your render here. So what we'll do is we'll actually pull up the actual image. So we have different options here, here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove the background, and I'm going to show you a really quick trick of how I like to actually go in and use perspective on my rug. So I know for sure I have the point back here that I want everything to come to. I'm going to make this kind of big. So it's going to look crazy for a second, but it'll make sense here in just a moment. So we'll make this kind of big, bring it out. And the reason I'm doing that is so right here and right here, the rug will begin. You can always have it off the page too. It's okay to do that. You'll go ahead and we'll add perspective. So in this case, the yellow dot is going to become our friend and help us align with this view right here, with this line. So we'll go ahead and bring that in, and I'm going to do the same thing here and the same thing here. And we're just going to play with it. And we can always reset it if we need to. There's no wrong answers here. We can just work with it and kind of see what we're going for. So I actually think this is great. Obviously, we don't want the rug on top of everything. So let's go ahead and position layer to the bottom. And then if I want to make this larger, I can do so here. You see how I'm using that? So I think this might be the way I do it. Maybe I bring these guys in, and then what I'm doing is zooming in, and now my rug is in. So I'm going to go ahead and share that with my client. So I'm going to go over here for clients, and then I'll go ahead and generate the link and be able to save it and send it to my client. So everything automatically saves. We know that we're doing the lake house and we're sharing the space with them. For this particular client, I really don't want the product names on, and I really don't want the price either. I want them to know that I'm within their budget range, and really what I'm showing right now is the overall space price. So we'll hit next. We'll copy this link over, and then here in just a moment, you'll be able to see exactly what the client will see. So as I open up a new tab, add this to their email, we can see that our budget here, our budget was actually $10,000. So we're coming in at about $9,100, which is fantastic. Now, for the client experience, this will be your logo. The client also does not need a login in order to see these actual pieces. So if they want to actually click on the Habitat sofa and learn a little bit more about it, most clients want to see more details about products. And now that we have this great information, we can show them all of the vendor images. So I love being able to see through. Now, one thing to note, since this is a duplicate image, you're not going to be able to go through all the images because it's just a photo. However, the original piece will be able to go through all of those different images. And they have, oh my goodness, they have just about every detail you need here, which is fantastic. However, if you ever need something like this and it's not showing you exactly, maybe they have a Roomba and they want to make sure it fits under the chair and you need this measurement. No question is too big or too small for us. We want to make sure that we're delivering to you. So just send that over to us. We can reach out to the manufacturer on your behalf and make sure this is all good. So the client can comment, and that's if they've logged into their StudioMine account. When I say StudioMine account, they don't have access to see the same items that you have. They really just are able to go in, comment, and they can accept or reject items without being logged in. So this item, let's just say this client has approved everything. So we'll go ahead and just say, yes, we love it all. We're ready to move forward. Quantity 2, make sure all your quantities are always up to date. Perfect. So we'll head back over. And at this point, we're actually going to go ahead and share a cart link. Now, this is where we have a really exciting update. So for the cart link, I'm going to show you all of the items that are approved automatically get ticked here. The box gets ticked, and then they're added to our cart. Now, for any of the items that you decide, you know what, they approved it, but they actually don't want this item, you just unclick. So click or unclick. The cool thing too that we've just added is the ability to add white glove delivery. So if you would like the client to have white glove for this item, but of course, we don't want that to come out of our profit margin. You can add that on for them to pay that upgraded white glove delivery fee. So we'll go ahead and I think for this one, they're going to want white glove as well. And for this one, they'll want white glove as well. So as you can see, it's different for each one. And we try to do it based on exactly where you're shipping to, the type of delivery as well. If you ever run into an issue where you need a little bit more assistance with your delivery, just reach out to our support team, support@allmine.com, and they'll be able to assist with that. Now that we're ready, we can see what our designer profit margin is looking like. So it's looking pretty good. So it looks like our payout would be about $3,300 for this cart. So we'll go ahead and hit share. We'll copy this, and then we'll send it over to the client so they can order directly. When the client actually purchases these items, they're able to go ahead and purchase with their credit card, as well as the option to pay with Affirm. So again, this is your logo here. It's just showing mine because of my demo account, but this will be your logo here. So they'll proceed to the checkout. Then once they proceed to checkout, down below, you'll be able to see the option to pay with Affirm or continue and pay with their credit card. One thing that I do want to note, if a client pays with Affirm, you will be paid out in full at the time of the purchase. So you don't need to worry about them paying over a 12-month period with Affirm. You would actually be paid because Affirm essentially pays us, the merchant, and then we would pay you out as essentially a commission for anything that's purchased through the share cart link. This is how I usually finish up a project. Once a project is complete, you'll get an email that lets you know that your project's been paid for, your commission check is on the way, and we can do either a paper check or a wire transfer.